Hello, my name is Courtney Farmer, and the watershed I decided to research is the Colorado River watershed in the southwestern United States. The Colorado River covers a large amount of the American Southwest, draining 264,000 square miles. It is the seventh largest watershed in the world that supplies water for over 40 million people. The watershed is split into an upper and lower basin. The upper basin includes Wyoming, Utah, Colorado, and New Mexico, as can be seen in the graphic on the right-hand side of the page. The maximum flow output ever recorded was over 384,000 cubic feet per second in 1884 in the town of Topock, Arizona, but the average output is 22,500 cubic feet per second. Before the construction of dams, the Colorado was a river of extremes. This watershed provides water for a significant portion of the country, including the 9 national parks it drains into. The water provided includes a variety of purposes that drive the Southwest economy. If the Colorado River Basin was its own country, it would have the 7th largest economy in the world. Here's another image of the Colorado's path through the United States. The 7 states that contribute to its flow have an agreement to distribute the water. Phoenix, Arizona, and Las Vegas, Nevada are the 2 largest cities supplied by the watershed. Here on the right-hand side is another view of the Colorado River Basin, with the main U.S. flow of the Colorado River highlighted in red. The total expanse of the Colorado River Basin watershed extends from the headwaters at La Poudre, Colorado, to its drainage point in the Gulf of California. Dams are a significant inclusion in the watershed, being used for hydroelectric energy production, recreation, and domestic uses. The Southwest is an arid region that relies heavily on the basin to sustain life. Overconsumption has already dried up the final 100 miles of the watershed, with increases expected due to global temperatures rising, annual rainfall decreasing, and an increase in population. As this watershed provides for over 40 million people, it was beneficial to find that it is in relatively good health. Streams and rivers in the Colorado watershed show 82.1% being healthy, while 17.9% were impaired. Impairment is determined by the EPA and their defined water quality standards. Of the impaired streams in the watershed, only 11.6% have had TMDLs completed as of 2015. TMDLs are important and necessary because they assess the watershed and set maximum limits for pollutants allowed. To bring these impaired streams up to standards, they all require TMDLs, as they are a plan in place to help bring the watershed up to standard and code. In the future, I hope to see that more of the TMDLs will be completed so that a higher percent of the watershed can be considered healthy. This slide shows pertinent information in the Colorado River Compact, which is a 1922 document drafted by the state governments of 7 different states that convened to determine how the waters of the Colorado watershed should be divided. This document divided the river discharge between 7 different states. These states include California, Nevada, Colorado, Arizona, New Mexico, Wyoming, and Utah. The states further are subdivided into, the watershed is further subdivided into the upper basin and the lower basin. Each basin is allotted 7.5 million acres a year, and 1 acre is equivalent to approximately 326,000 gallons of water. The chart on the right shows exactly how much each state in the compact receives per year. These percentages are based off of need, which is based on population and use, and it's also meant to provide these areas with the water that they require while trying to limit the depletion level of the entire watershed. Speaking further on the Colorado River Compact, here we can see the designated uses that each state has for the water that they are allotted. All states in the compact provide water for domestic purposes, such as household use, industry, and other commercial purposes. Recreation is another large contributor to use in the watershed. Recreation includes activities such as fishing, water sports, and swimming, along with a host of other recreational activities, which can be found in most of the states on the list. Energy production and agriculture are present in California, Nevada, Arizona, New Mexico, and Wyoming. Energy comes from dams, especially the Hoover Dam, which provides 4.5 billion kilowatt hours of renewable energy to over 8 million people yearly. As we have seen, water in the Colorado watershed is scarce and must be conserved as much as possible. States must be very conservative with their water use, as the American Southwest is an arid desert. California has been experiencing a severe drought, as we have all heard about, and other areas are potentially at risk in the near future. The graph on the right shows areas that will be potentially experiencing water shortages by 2050. The majority of areas with extreme need for water are concentrated in the Southwest. The Colorado River Basin watershed is slowly being depleted as the need and demand for water rises. The lower 100 miles of the watershed have actually not reached the Gulf of California since the mid-60s, instead drying up on its path. Water stress in the Southwest is a stark contrast to areas such as West Virginia that are historically water-rich. Conservation of the Colorado River watershed will become even more critical in years to come. Maintaining river health while limiting use are necessary to ensure a stable water supply for the 40 million people that rely on it. In order to help conserve water, people will need to cut back on water that is not absolutely necessary, such as water used to wash cars and grow grass in yards. Here's the list of references that I cited in creating this presentation. Thank you so much for your time.